everyone. In this video, I'm going to explain about the KYC interview questions. So, right now, KYC AML is the most hiring information which is going on outside in certain MNC companies. And I've heard KPMG is also actively hiring in this current May and June month for either contractual or permanent roles. So let's get an idea about this KYC process. So if anyone wants to get an overview and if they are new to these concepts, especially freshers, so this would definitely help. And this learning material has nearly 156 pages. I will just try my level best to cover all the topics whatever which is being explained here. So first of all, KYC, it is know your customer or know your client. So this is the process of where we verify, identify the client information. Okay, so there will be a set of documents. So we have to either cross check the applications or the client details if it is matching, and most of the companies has this KYC process. It can be ANZ or JP Morgan, Accenture, KPMG, EY, lot of firms. And if you are able to start your career as a fresher in this KYC AML domain or only KYC process, it would really help you to know much information, preferably in global environment, not in domestic. So why this KYC is required? To prevent the money laundering or terrorist financing or a fraud related issues. So when we talk about money laundering, so what does that means? What exactly it how it works? So it is the act of converting illicit or black money into a legitimate money or a white money. So it is all about like converting the money from the wrong option, like the illicit, to a right legitimate option. And what are the three stages in money laundering? One is placement, layering, second one is layering, and third one is integration. So mostly in any of the interviews, so even IBM has conducted interview walk-in scheduled walk-in drive in Manyata. So they also had this kind of questions. If anyone doesn't have a relevant experience in AML, they ask what are the stages of money laundering. So if you're able to tell the HR immediately, like it is placement, layering, and integration. So what does this terrorist financing means? Providing finance to the terrorist people or terrorist organization called terrorist financing. It can be legitimate. So it all comes, see, these financial crimes, fraud operations, compliance, risk management, and even we'll come across in this AML as well, like customer due diligence or enhanced due diligence, which is CDD or EDD. So a lot of things we can learn in this concept. We'll get to know many updates in banking concepts or investment banking. So what is AML? It is a process of preventing the money laundering. What is counter terrorist financing or CTF? It's a process of preventing terrorist financing activities, CTF. And what are the various steps under the AML? Know your customer, onboarding, periodic reviews, trigger events, transaction monitoring, suspicious activity reporting. So even if you would have able to see in LinkedIn, many people hire for this transaction monitoring role. So it can be in Genpact or Accenture or multiple companies we have. What are the main key parties in KYC? Maker or an analyst, or we can also call, if they are senior, then it is a senior analyst. And we'll be having a quality checker. Okay, quality subject matter expert, quality assurance, and compliance relationship manager. Then what is onboarding? Onboarding is a, or we usually tell, right, like client onboarding. So client onboarding is a process of opening a bank account for the first time, opening an account in our bank for the first time. What is periodic review? Once onboarding is completed, periodic review will be coming into picture based on the client risk rating. And there we have to review all the KYC documents for the existing client or a customer. Low risk clients, medium risk clients, high risk clients. And the tenure depends on each and every bank. What are the steps under KYC? It is IDD plus CDD plus EDD. IDD is initial due diligence. I think most of them would have not heard about IDD. So it's an initial due diligence. It's also called as gap analysis, analyzing the initial documents available in the public source and identify the gaps to complete the KYC checks. So I would recommend here one suggestion. So if any of them are working in a different process, or if they want to jump into this KYC process, I would appreciate if people try to jump internally through IJPs, or if there are any openings, because this field has scope compared to US mortgage or any other department. Or in case if you are joined in a banking organization, try to learn as much as possible. And in case if you have really worked in quality or a KYC team, we can definitely move into a big four company. Then next, coming to the CDD, customer due diligence, it is a process of identifying and verifying the client details and checking the risk of the client, where it includes document analysis, risk rating of the client, and screening. What enhanced due diligence? This step is required only if the client risk ratings turn high, where we require to collect some information or additional documents from the client. What are the additional documents which we need? It can be the ownership threshold, which is 10% or more, source of fund of the client, and source of wealth of the UBO. So I hope it's clear and crisp with the simple explanation. So customer due diligence is the identifying process of identifying and verifying the client details, and we have to assess the risk of the client. And EDD is required if the client risk rating is turning high. And I would recommend you to go through this document or watch this video when you are going for a KYC AML interview, either if you are a fresher, or if you are having a relevant experience in this field. And it would definitely help you to get an overview rather than uh, going in a trying to check in Google or something like that, because here we have all the details in this learning material. And apart from that, what are the types, various client types? It can be trust funds, NBFI, non-banking financial institutions, and state-owned entities. What are the main common requirements to be obtained, which we have to get from the client? So it can be a full legal name, registered address or a business address, registered number and date, nature of business, completed ownership, tax related information, financial data which has revenues and assets, list of directors and controllers. Who are common connected parties to the client? It can be directors, controllers, shareholders, auditors, authorized signatories. And who are our controllers? Like it can be a chairman, CEO, chief financial officer, or chief operating officer. Uh, and there are certain gaps in this PDF, so it's not easy to edit it. So I'm trying my level best to cover important topics, and I hope the screen is visible. What are the main components for the funds? Prospectus, offering memorandum, investment management agreement, memorandum and article of association, fund representation, and AML letter. And what do you mean by bank? It's a financial institution. And what is correspondent banking? A bank is providing product or services to another bank, and the customer is called a cus. Okay, I will just explain once again. A bank is providing a product or a services to a different bank customers is called correspondence banking. And NBFI, non-banking financial institution. I hope NBFI is already mentioned here, I believe. One second. Yeah, non-banking financial institution. So yeah, they are asset manager, insurance companies, brokers, dealers, and wealth management services. What are the connected parties to the trust? Truster, grantor or settler, trustees, beneficiaries, directors, auditors, administrator. What are the main requirement documents for the trust? Trust deed, trust agreement, regulation proof. Okay, and let's talk about other topics. So they have also mentioned the secondary source: Bloomberg, Thomson Reuters, Mint Global, client websites. What are the screening tools? World Check, which is PEP identification, regulatory and imprisonment news, Lexis diligence or RDC, a negative news and adverse media. What are the main discounting factors in screening? Name mismatch, date of birth or age mismatch, country mismatch, biography, gender mismatch. List few sanctioned countries. It may change. So, sanctioned countries are Syria, Venezuela, Cuba, North Korea, Turkey. What is FCCR and why it is required? It's a FCCR is a risk calculator for the client, and it is required to know the client risk rating while onboarding or periodic review stage. What are the key risk indicators or the risk deciding factors? It can be a country risk, nature of business of the client, ownership type, product and services provided by the bank, negative news, sanction news, and PEP. What is IBO? Intermediate Beneficial Officer, and UBO is Ultimate Beneficial Owner. PEP means politically exposed person. So various banks have different definition for PEP. It's the short form is political exposed person. And let's see about other things. List out the few products and services provided to the client: custody, foreign exchange, correspondent banking, trade finance, debt securities, bonds, stocks, etc. List of few regulators. And what are the list of some KYC documents: registry extract, regulation proofs, listing proofs, LEI proofs, annual report prospectus, trust deed, MOA and AOA, passport copies of connected parties, tax forms, ownership charts. And one more thing, in case if you need this PDF and if you have a relevant experience in AML KYC, or if you want to learn as a fresher, or if you want to uh, get a clear idea about this topic, do let me know. I will definitely share it to you people so that you can have a look. And these kind of learning material, it is not that easy to get outside, and that's why I'm trying to explain it each and every sentence or whichever is important. so that you can get an overview on these topics. And if you're unable to reach, this video also will definitely help when you are going to have a look. What are authorized signatories? They are the people who can sign the bank related documents on behalf of clients, and it can be found in board resolutions. So, money laundering is a converting of illegal money into a legal money through financial transaction. And money laundering stages: placement, depositing the criminal proceeds into financial system; layering, conceal the criminal origin of proceeds; integration, use criminal proceeds to personal benefit. AML, it's a transaction monitoring software, allows bank and other financial institutions to monitor customer transaction on a daily basis on a real time for a risk. Various steps or stages in AML: KYC, onboarding, periodic reviews, trigger events, transaction monitoring, suspicious activity reporting. Transaction monitoring: monitoring of the customer account transaction, which including current and historical data of customers to get a clear picture of the customer activity. So it will be like analyzing or monitoring the customer transaction. It can be a old data or a current data of customers, so we can get a clear idea about the customer activities. Next is screening. Necessary checks before opening a new account so as to ensure that the identity of the customers does not match with any other person with known criminal background or with banned entities such as terrorist individuals or terrorist organizations. So it's all about checking the details before creating a bank account or the important checks, so that we will get to know that it's a unique customer, and we can do a basic KYC check. And apart from that, FCCR, Financial Crime Risk Calculating Model. So it is a risk calculator for the client, and it is required to know the client risk rating while onboarding or periodic review stage. Difference between bribery and corruption. Bribery means offering money, corruption means misusing the power. Tipping off, informing the customer about the investigation of AML offense to the client. Politically exposed person. So in financial regulation, a politically exposed person is one who has been entrusted with a prominent public function, and a PAP generally presents a higher risk for potential involvement in bribery and corruption by the virtue of their position and the influence that may hold. Not sure who has done this particular learning material. It's really helpful, and it's all like a reading book, or when you're traveling, this learning material would definitely help. So we'll get to know each and every information on KYC AML, even if you have not worked in these departments. So we can get an idea how it works, and it's really good to know about this process because it has more scope and value outside. So yeah, so I'm happy that I got this PDF material, so that I am able to explain it to the multiple audience with a clear information. And coming to the red flags, they are mentioned as creation of complex ownership structures when there is no legitimate or economic cause, unexplained changes in instruction, especially in last minute. FATCA. FATCA means Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act to avoid a tax evasion by the US citizens who hold assets in foreign financial institutions. And OFAC, Office of Foreign Control. We have Section 312 USA Patriot Act and US Patriot Law. Bank Secrecy Act, AML typologies. So there are multiple typologies like current exchange or a cash conversion, cash courier or cash smuggling, smurfing or structuring, use of credit cards, checks, promissory notes, purchase of portable valuable commodities, purchase of valuable assets, use of wire transfers, and offshore bank account, identity fraud, use of gatekeepers. These are all the typologies which are mentioned. And SAR, Suspicious Activity Report, it's a document that financial institutions must file with the FINCN following a suspected incident of money laundering or fraud. And CTR, Cash Transaction Reporting for CTR. So why KYC is important? It helps to avoid the below risk like reputational risk danger to the name, operational risk because of failed internal process, legal risk breach of laws, regulatory risk failed to comply with the regulatory standards, financial risk cost, liability risk threat on the company. Only 25 pages I've explained it. I hope there are more details end to end in detail. Onboarding is a process of opening an account with our bank for the first time. Offshore bank. It's a bank regulated under international banking license, often called offshore license, which usually prohibits the bank from establishing any business activities in the jurisdiction of establishment. Products and services provided to the client. It can be custody, stocks, bond, debt securities, trade finance, correspondent banking, foreign exchange, types of customers. If you want to add any additional points in or which department or where exactly where I can cover in terms of investment banking, do comment on this video so that I can try my best to get it any other concepts. And as much as possible I just wanted to upload a lot of learning documents so that because the education in college is different and once we come out to an MNC firm is completely different. And these kind of learning material, if you come across in the initial stage of learning before you join an MNC, it would definitely help to get an idea about multiple process in multinational firms. So there is one more PDF which I have, which is KYC interview questions, where you are able to see the difference between both AML and KYC. KYC is conducting throughout customer data gathering and validation through necessary check, but AML is establishing a robust procedures and controls to combat the money laundering and financial crimes. KYC ensures the accurate verification of customer identities to prevent illicit activities, and AML deterring bad actors and preventing financial crimes while protecting the business. And KYC's elements, it's all about customer screening, identity verification and validation, risk profiling, customer intelligence. And AML screening, it's customer due diligence, transaction monitoring, suspicious activity reporting, and cooperation with authorities. What is corporate KYC? It's an identity verification measures that authenticates legitimacy of a business and its owners before they can open an account with a financial institution. Elements of the corporate KYC are customer identity verification, customer due diligence, ongoing monitoring. What this sanctions? It's a restrictive actions taken by individual countries, regimes, or coalitions with the primary purpose of provoking a change in policy, and it can restrict a trade, financial transaction, and diplomatic relations. They can be specific or general in their implementation and enforcement. PEP, okay, politically exposed persons are individuals who are or have been entrusted with prominent public functions or positions, making them susceptible to corruption and involvement in money laundering activities. State-owned enterprises, PEP. Due diligence. It refers to an action that is considered reasonable for people to be expected to take in order to keep themselves or others and their property safe. Due diligence business. It can be defined as a detailed check or examination of a company and its financial records before becoming involved in a business arrangement. CDD is a standard process of collecting and verifying the information about customers' identity and checking the risk associated with the customer. And EDD, it's a more throughout and detailed level of due diligence that goes beyond the standard CDD requirements. It is typically applied to a customer or transactions with a higher risk of involvement in money laundering or illicit activities. So, I hope this video really helps you to get a lot of information in terms of AML KYC banking, and mostly you get hirings, and initially in KPMG you have this assessment test. Unless you clear that, you will not be able to proceed further with the manager round, and then post that, based on your documentation, you will be able to get an idea whether you are hired or not, but it takes some time. So I'm not sure like when the hiring will start in other firms, but it's very challenging sometimes to get the openings in the current market, be it in any field or it can be for freshers or any other levels. What are the main components? Okay, so transaction monitoring. You're able to see there are certain information in EDD. Getting in depth conducting more in-depth investigation to high-risk customers such as politically exposed or PEP people, high net worth individual and business in high-risk jurisdictions. So I hope, please do share this video if it is really helpful. Please do share it to your friends. And in case if you want to know this information in detail, so I would be happy to share, but it should be beneficial and you have to make sure that you are learning end to end rather than just taking the documents. So who have relevant experience in AML KYC, you are always welcome to ask me, especially my old candidates. So in future, if I come across any such kind of learning material, or I will definitely try to make sure that I just give an overview about it so that you will get a clear picture, and let these kind of information be taught in the college rather than teaching something else and coming to the corporate. It's completely different because there should be a meaning behind, and these kind of topics, it should be covered what exactly how O2C or P2P or FP&A works, or what does taxation means, or what does loan processing means, or how well a seminar can also be conducted in any of the colleges in the final semester by by any of the old students who are like 7+ years experienced or 8+ years experienced. So it definitely helps the college to get a brand, and also the students who are younger generation, they will get a proper guidance because most of the families don't have a proper guidance in terms of how well you can get into a MNC culture, and what is the hiring structure, what are the necessities are in order to get a good job. So please do support these videos, share it to multiple people so that it can reach a wide audience and people will get benefited across pan India. Thanks for watching this video. I will just get back to you on the next video. Thank you.